everybody. Welcome to the Real Bible Study. My name is Danielle, for those who don't know me. And just as always, we're going to always open up with our opening prayer. Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Lord, open our eyes
Lord, open our eyes
so we can see something we've never saw before.
so we can see something that we've never saw before.
Open our ears
Open our ears
so we can hear something we've never heard before.
so we can hear something we've never heard before.
And open our hearts
And open our heart
so we can receive something we've never received before.
so we can receive something we've never received before.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so tonight we are in Genesis 42 and 43. Does everybody have something to write with? A pen and a paper? Are we ready? I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. When Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why do you keep looking at each other? Listen," he went on, "I have heard there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy some for us so that we will live and not die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he thought something might happen to him. The sons of Israel were among those who came to buy grain, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Joseph was in charge of the country. He sold grain to all of its people. His brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the ground. When Joseph saw his brothers, he recognized them, but he treated them like strangers and spoke harshly to them. "Where do you come from?" he asked. "From the land of Canaan to buy food," they replied. Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Joseph remembered his dreams about them and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see the weakness of the land." "No, my lord, your servants have come to buy food," they said. "We are all sons of one man. We are honest. Your servants are not spies." "No," he said to them, "you have come to see the weakness of the land." But they replied, "We, your servants, were 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no longer living." Then Joseph said to them, "I have spoken. You are spies. This is how you will be tested. As surely as Pharaoh lives, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one from among you to get your brother. The rest of you will be in prison so that your words can be tested to see if they are true. If you are not, then as surely as Pharaoh lives, you are spies." So Joseph imprisoned them together for 3 days. On the third day, Joseph said to them, "I fear God. Do this and you will live. If you are honest, let one of you be confined to the guardhouse, while the rest of you go and take grain to relieve the hunger of your households. Bring your youngest brother to me so that your words can be confirmed, then you won't die." And they consented to this. Then they said to each other, "Obviously, we are being punished for what we did to our brother. We saw his deep distress when he pleaded with us, but we would not listen. That is why this trouble has come to us." But Reuben replied, "Didn't I tell you not to harm the boy? But you wouldn't listen. Now we must account for his blood." They did not realize that Joseph understood them, since there was an interpreter between them. He turned away from them and wept. When he turned back and spoke to them, he took Simeon from them and had him bound before their eyes. Joseph then gave orders to fill their containers with grain, return each man's silver to his sack, and give them provisions for their journey. This order was carried out. They loaded the grain on their donkeys and left there. At the place where they had lodged for the night, one of them opened his sack to get feed for his donkey, and he saw his silver there at the top of his bag. He said to his brothers, "My silver has been returned. It's here in my bag." Their hearts sank, trembling, they turned to one another and said, "What has God done to us?" When they reached their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him all that had happened to them. The man who is the Lord of the country spoke harshly to us and accused us of spying on the country. But we told him, "We are honest and not spies. We were 12 brothers, son of the same father. One is no longer living, and the youngest is now with our father in the land of Canaan." The man who is the Lord of the country said to us, "This is how I will know if you are honest. Leave one brother with me. Take food to relieve the hunger of your households and go. Bring back your youngest brother to me, and I will know that you are not spies, but honest men. I will then give your brother back to you, and you can trade in the country." As they began emptying their sacks, there in each man's sack was his bag of silver. When they and their father saw their bags of silver, they were afraid. Their father, Jacob, said to them, "It's me that you make childless. Joseph is gone and Simeon is gone. Now you want to take Benjamin? Everything happens to me." Then Reuben said to his father, "You can kill my 2 sons if I don't bring him back to you. Put him in my care, and I will return him to you." But Jacob answered, "My son will not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If anything happens to him on your journey, you will bring my gray hairs down to Sheol in sorrow." All right. So tonight, our topic is, it's a thin line between love and hate. It's a thin line between love and hate. Can somebody give me the definition of love? When you think of love, how would you define it? Okay. I said an intense feeling of deep affection. What is the definition of hate? If you had to define hate, how would you define it? I said
A strong dislike.
Okay. An intense or passionate dislike for something or a person. Look at how close the definitions are. They are both the extreme version of a feeling. So this is where I want you to have your paper and pen. You guys ready? I want you to draw a straight line on a piece of paper. At one end, I want you to put an arrow facing down, and then right under it, love. And then at the other end, I want you to draw the arrow facing straight down and write hate. I'm gonna show you what I want it to look like, or what I feel like it should look like. You guys see it?
Okay.
You see that thin line between love and hate?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I want y'all to have as y'all visual on y'all paper. Anybody else need me to keep it up, or you guys got it?
I have it.
We have it.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever had that feeling where you love someone 1 minute and then hate them the next?
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Okay. Look at how easy it is to go from one extreme to another. I mean, when you see them, you love them, and then boom, all you see is hate and red. Has anyone ever seen the movie A Thin Line Between Love and Hate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is a 1996 movie that tells the story of Darnell Wright, played by Martin Lawrence, who is a ladies' man, who finds himself stalked by one of his obsessed lovers, Brandy, played by Lynn Whitfield, who is an attractive, successful, but unstable older businesswoman. And if you ever seen the movie, you know that the feelings from Brandy went from love to hate real quick. And I think that is what happened in our text this evening. with Joseph and his brothers. Let's dive in. So in Genesis 42, 1-4, we drop in on a conversation between a father and his sons about the grain for sale in Egypt. At this point in the story, what do you think of the father and son relationship? If you had to just define that relationship, how would you define it?
I would define it rocky.
Rocky, okay.
Mhm.
Anybody
Real
else?
strange. It's real
Strange.
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 Okay. You said, what you say, Sherry?
I said strained.
A strained
Mhm.
relationship. Okay, I like
Yes.
it. Right, rocky,
Mhm.
strained. Anybody else? Do you think they loved him or do you think they hated him?
A little bit of both.
I like that, Asia. I definitely like that. Because he even said, why do y'all keep looking at each other? Do you think he knows deep down that they did something to Joseph back in Egypt?
He probably suspected it.
Mhm.
I said, it seems to me like Jacob didn't really trust his sons
Mhm.
because he told them to go down to Egypt, but he wouldn't let them take Benjamin. Because the last time all the sons went somewhere, one came up missing. My first point for the evening is you can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-mm.
You got to have a plan B. Jacob couldn't let all his sons go because he knew that if something happened to all of them, who would carry on his name and help bring forth the greatest family that was supposed to come from him? Okay. In Genesis 42, 5-6, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
The brothers came.
The brothers. Yes. The brothers go to Egypt. But when they get there, they realize we're not the only ones here to buy grain. So they bow down to Joseph to show respect with their faces to the ground. But they didn't know this man was Joseph. Wait, let's look at this further. Remember in Genesis 37, 5-8, Joseph
Yeah,
had a
Joseph.
dream. And when he told to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. His brother said to him, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Isn't it funny that here the brothers thought by selling their brother into slavery, that was going to stop the dream from coming true? But what they didn't realize is they were helping the dream to be fulfilled. My next point, ladies, sometimes God will use somebody who don't like us to bless us. In Genesis 42 and 7-8, what happens next in this love-hate situation? So now we in 7-8. What happens next?
Joseph recognized that it's them and try to like disguise himself a little bit.
Yes, yes. Joseph recognized his brothers, but they didn't recognize him. Can you imagine how Joseph felt in this situation? Here he is standing in front of his brothers, the one who threw him in a pit, sold him into slavery, and then from there he went to jail. But he also is now second in charge to Pharaoh for the actions that they did to him. For me, I know I would be a little upset. And I would be like, and I can't believe they don't even recognize me. And they the ones that put me through all this. Do you think he felt love or hate at this very moment?
I think he felt a little hate.
A little
Yeah,
hate. Me
but
too.
yeah.
Me too. Anybody else think he felt a little bit of love, or just hate at this very moment?
He felt hate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think he had a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Why you say that,
Yeah.
DD?
Only because when you long for that relationship that you didn't have because you've been in this foreign place, although it's a God space that you're in, it's still foreign to him. So you still long for that closeness to your family. So to have to adjust yourself and keep your composure and not go off on them because of the position that you're in. So I want to say it was a little bit of both.
Okay, I like it. So I said my next point, ladies, God will fix it so you don't look like what you're going through or what you've been through. When people see you, you're looking great on the outside, but on the inside, you are going through. Write this question down. How do you handle when you are going through? Are you hateful, spiteful? Are you pitiful? Or are you in a place of growing, learning, healing, and waiting? Does anybody need me to repeat the question?
Yes.
How do you handle when you are going through? Are you hateful, spiteful, pitiful? Or are you in a place of growing, learning, healing, and waiting? Okay. In Genesis 42, 9 through 17, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
Is that when Joseph talked to the brothers a little rude?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did he do?
Said that they was there to steal from him.
That they were spies.
They were spies, yeah.
He remembered
And what else
dream.
did they do?
He remembered the journey.
At that very moment, he remembered a dream. And what else did he do to him?
He put him in jail for 3 years.
Yes. He put him in jail. Okay. So Joseph asked his brother some questions, and then he put him in jail. Can you imagine how he felt at that very moment when he heard them say, "We are honest men"?
Honest.
No, you not. But okay.
He's like, not when you put me in jail.
And then they said, one brother is no longer living. Here he is, the very one they said was dead. And he is very much alive and has their fate in his hands. Remember, Pharaoh said you could do whatever you want, whenever you want, to whomever you want. Do you think he looked at them with love or hate at this moment, and why?
I would say it was hate again.
Hate?
Because he's looking at it like, you dude sold me, put me in, now I'm gonna give you the treatment that I went through. I'm gonna let you see how it feels.
Yeah,
I think it's with love.
You think it was love, Caitlin? Why?
Because Pharaoh said he could do whatever you want, whenever you want, to whoever you want, and he only put him in jail. Like he could have killed
him in jail. He could have beat him.
Yeah, I think he extended grace, if anything.
Yeah, he gave him some grace. Okay. Anybody else? I said he decided. What you say?
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's love. Maybe he's in like a tough love type of situation where he's like, I gotta
think.
That's
what I think.
By being vengeful a little bit. Like I get that.
I think a little bit of both, like you said. And I think that's why he put him in that jail, to get his revenge, so that they can know how it feels to be thrown into a jail for something they ain't do. Because he accused him of being a spy. They said I wasn't a spy, but he threw him in a jail because he said they were spies, but they weren't. In Genesis 42, 18 through 20, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
He gives them an alternative to prove themselves.
Yes.
And try to go get their younger brother.
And how long did it take him to come up with that? When he decided to go talk to him, how long did it take?
3 days.
3 days. Okay. So Joseph begins to tell his brothers his terms for their release from prison. And he only let them stay in jail for 3 days. 3, again, is the number for completeness and perfection. So I'm thinking it was on the 3rd day that he realized enough time had passed, and I want to see my brother, Benjamin. Let me get on these terms so they can go and bring my brother back. It seems like the love he had for Benjamin outweighed the hate he had for these brothers. My next point, sometimes you get blessed based on the strength of someone else. In Genesis 42, 21 to 23, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
They felt like they was being punished.
There you go, Ashley. You got it, girl. They felt like they was being punished for what they did to Joseph. At this point, they acknowledged they let the hate they had in their heart for Joseph lead them to do what they did. And they knew they were wrong. Joseph overheard their confession. This is where the love for his brothers took over, because Joseph didn't allow himself to be bitter, where a lot of us, myself included, wouldn't have blamed Joseph for treating them bad and throwing them all back in jail. I mean, it is one thing to assume someone did something to you, but my God, to hear the confession and then turn the other cheek. Ladies, my next point, some of these things we are holding on to, we have to let go. Because if Joseph didn't let the brothers go, he might not have ever seen his father or Benjamin again. So my question to you is, you want to write this down? What are you holding on to that is keeping you bound to that spot? Anybody need me to repeat the question? What are you holding on to that is keeping you bound to that spot? And because you stand bound, you won't let it go and you won't be able to go to the next level.
Maybe resentment.
Resentment, pain, hurt, all of it. Hate. And let's talk about it. What if it's love? What if you love somebody and they don't love you back?
Unhealthy relationships.
There you go. And you love them and you won't let them go because you feel like, okay, one day they're going to change. So you won't let them go.
That's just last time I was in a situation like that, I think I was on love. I mean, I was stuck on the fact of the potential of what could be. Like I wasn't loving that person for what they was anymore. It was what I thought they could be, the potential of there. So I think there lies the difference, at least for me.
Yeah,
like
so
you can be in love with the potential of that person, but not that person in their exact time, or what they are now.
So would you say you love the idea?
Correct. The idea,
the relationship or what the relationship might represent
what it
more so than the person.
Yes. Or what they were presenting to me now.
Yep. I get it. And okay. Anybody else before we move on? Okay. In Genesis 42 and 24, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
Joseph turned away and cried.
Not yet.
He heard what they were, the interpreter.
42 and 24. Let me make sure I got it right. Okay, what happened?
When Reuben was saying something and they didn't know that he understood what he was saying through the interpreter.
So let's look to the second part of 24, right before we get to 25. So you was right, Sherry. He did cry. He turned
He
away
turned-
from them and wept. When he turned back and spoke to them, he took Simeon from them and had him bound before their eyes.
What he mean by bound? Like he hung him up?
No, he tied him up because he about to put him in jail. So he
Okay.
bound him. He like tied his wrists and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said he bound Simeon in front of his brothers and kept him as a prisoner to guarantee their return with Benjamin. Can you imagine how these brothers felt knowing they had to leave someone behind as collateral to ensure they would come back with Benjamin? The last time they purposely left Joseph behind. And this time they don't really want to leave Simeon. But the last time they left him. So can you imagine how Joseph felt in that very moment where, okay, you thinking twice about leaving Simeon, but you ain't think twice about leaving me. Just threw me in that pit. In Genesis 42, 25 to 26, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
Joseph gave orders to fill a sack.
He gave the orders.
They bring the corn back.
They gave him he gave orders to get them their money back,
Mm.
and it still give them the grain. I said, Joseph returns the money his brothers paid for the grain. Look at God. The brothers got to leave not only with the grain, but with their money as well, and with provisions for the journey. Let's read it. Joseph then gave orders to fill their containers with grain, return each man silver to his sack, and give them provisions for their journey. This order was carried out. They loaded the grain on their donkeys and they left there. You know this was love because he sent them home with an abundance. He not only provided for them, but the donkeys too. And you know, donkeys are also referred to as asses. Joseph knew the donkeys was carrying the provisions and needed to stay strong to get them home. Wow, God. So you mean to tell me that sometimes I can still be an ass, but you gonna provide for me?
I think he deep down inside, he probably just learned the power of forgiveness.
Yes.
Forgiveness right there.
Yes. So God is going to still provide for us even when we acting like asses. That's how God is. He is always giving us unexpected and undeserving blessings. My next point, ladies, when the journey seems long and unexpected, and you may be acting like an ass, God loves us so much that he will still come through and follow us on our journey to make sure we have what's needed to get us to our destination. You may not be where you want, but you are still being provided for while you're moving towards your destination. Does anybody need me to repeat that?
Yes.
You may not, how you want me to start? You may not be where you want it, or you want me to go further
Yeah.
back?
No, go. You may not.
You may not be where you want, but you are still being provided for while you're moving towards your destination. In Genesis 42, 27 to 28, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
They realized that he gave them back everything and they questioned.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Oh, let me reread. Hold up. Oh, yeah, one of them. Mm-hmm.
One of them. One of the brothers finds their money in their sacks. And this is a test from God to see if the brother would be truthful and tell the rest of his brothers what he had found. Now look at this. First, we don't even know which brother found the money because his name wasn't mentioned. Second, when the brother told the rest, they were all scared because they already thought they were spies. The people were already thinking they were spies, and they didn't want to be considered a thief as well. The brothers seem to band together in this sense, because never once did you hear them say, well, you the thief, because it was in your bag, not ours. This must be love. Because they were all afraid. Because if something happened to one of them, it affected all of them. Third, they asked, what has God done to us? They felt so undeserving, and their consciences was working overtime, that they couldn't even look at this like, maybe this is a blessing. For them, they assumed this still had to do with what they did to their brother. What I love about this is it ain't have anything to do with what they did to their brother. No, I'm sorry. It did have something to do with what they did to their brother, just not in the way that they were thinking. One of my sisters always say, Ashley, don't put a question mark with God, put a period. Don't put a question mark with God, put a period. In Genesis 42, 29 and 34, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
They told their father.
Yes, they return to their father and they tell him everything that happened. I'm sure they were nervous having to explain to their father who they felt loved one of their brothers more than them, that yet another son is not with us. Yeah, we got the grain and we got the money too, but we gotta go back and get Simeon. And oh, by the way, we gotta bring Benjamin too. I can't imagine how Joseph felt, because I'm sorry, how Jacob felt, because every time his sons get together, it never goes as planned. And they always come back minus one brother. As a parent, what do you think was going through Jacob's mind?
These kids getting on my last nerves.
These kids getting on my nerves. What else?
He probably said, what in the world did I do wrong to deserve all this?
That's what I was about to say, disappointment.
Disappointment. But do you think he played a part in this, or do you think he feels like he played a part in this relationship between these sons?
He absolutely played a part in it.
He definitely played a part. But do you think he feels like he played a part in it?
No.
No. Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree with Shantini. No.
No. Does anybody think he may think a little bit like, maybe it's me? Because sometimes you start to think if everything around you is different than the way you think, then maybe you be like, well, you know what? Maybe it is me. Do you think he loved or hated his sons? Not except for Joseph and Benjamin, the other 10.
I think he tolerated them.
Tolerated them. Anybody else? Anybody think he did love them in a way?
I think he loved them. I think he just felt like, that there's another portion of heartbreak.
Okay. All right. So in Genesis 42 and 35, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
They found the money.
All of the brothers discovered their money was returned.
And the father said something about him being scared.
And they all was afraid. Yes. Wow, this had to be love. Because not only did Joseph give one brother grain and money, but all of the brothers got grain and money. They got what they needed, and they ain't have to pay a penny for it. Isn't that how God does through how he blesses us, though? And then because of that blessing, the people close to us get blessed too. These brothers got blessed, not because they deserved it, but because of their connection to Joseph. My next point, ladies, get ready. Because God is getting ready to bless you to be a blessing. All right. In Genesis 42 and 36, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
Jacob said he was getting robbed of his children.
Jacob feels like all things are working against him.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he feels like the sons of his that are left, they kind of hate him in a way because they keep wanting to take his sons from him. I know it's hard for him as a parent because he's put in a situation to have to choose to send one son to rescue another so his family can get fed or watch them die one by one. He felt like everything was against me, but he forgot that he was chosen by God to be the father of nations. At this time, he still had his health and some of his sons, and he was still a wealthy man. With all that he had, he still felt like God was against him, not realizing that this might just be a part of the plan. Behind the scenes of this hate and love situation, God was working out a plan. In Genesis 42 and 37, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
Reuben offered his two sons.
Reuben offered up his two sons and told his father, you can kill him if I don't bring your son back to you. From one father to another, I am offering my sons as collateral to bring you back your son. I am sure that Reuben loved his sons because you are not going to offer up something you love as collateral if you don't really love them, just to bring something back that ain't even yours. I mean, it's his brother, but it's not his son. All right. In Genesis 42 and 37, what happens next in this love-hate situation? Oh, we just did that. I'm sorry, 42 and 38. What happens next in this love-hate situation?
Jacob refused his offer.
Jacob refused to let Benjamin go. He loved Benjamin. That was all he had left from Rachel, the wife that he loved the most. Seems like he wasn't even worried about getting Simeon out of jail. It is said it's a thin line between love and hate. And when you have to take care of your family, you will do just about anything. Let's continue on in our lesson in Genesis 43. Y'all ready?
Before we read on, can we discuss that 38 again?
Absolutely.
Because I was reading it, and to me, like, he was only worried about Benjamin. He's talking to his other sons.
Absolutely.
But then he's only worried about Benjamin. He told his other sons that he birthed, he's all I have left.
He's all I have left.
How that made him feel. He already lost Joseph. At least he think he has. And now he got to lose Benjamin too. That's all I have left. And he said that to his other children.
To his other children. Because you remember, he loved Rachel more, right. And these were Rachel kids. And he said this, he said this all I got left.
Like his other sons don't even matter.
The other ones didn't even matter. That's why he was like, well, Simeon in jail. So sorry for him, but I ain't sending Benjamin to get him. Anybody else feel like that?
That favoritism. Wow.
That favoritism is bad.
Yeah, I was going to say that favoritism, but he loved Rachel though.
He loved Rachel with all his heart and soul.
He loved Rachel.
So do y'all want to talk about 42 more? Or do y'all want to go into 43? Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the famine in the land was severe. When they had used up the grain they had brought back from Egypt, their father said to them, go back and buy us a little food. But Judah said to him, the man specifically warned us, you will not see me again unless your brother is with you. If you will send our brother with us, we will go down there and buy food for you. But if you will not send him, we will not go. For the man said to us, you will not see me again unless your brother is with you. Why have you caused me so much trouble? Israel asked. Why would you tell the man that you had another brother? They answered, the man kept asking us about our family. Is your father still alive? Do you have another brother? And we answered him accordingly. How could we know that he would say, bring your brother here? Then Judah said to his father Israel, send the boy with me. We will be on our way so that we may live and not die. Neither we nor you nor our dependents. I will be responsible for him. You can hold me personally accountable. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, I will be guilty before you forever. If we had not delayed, we could have come back twice by now. Then their father Israel said to them, if it must be so, then do this. Put some of the best products of the land in your packs and take them down to the man as a gift. A little balm, a little honey, aromatic gum, resin, pistachios, and almonds. Take twice as much silver with you. Return the silver that was returned to you in the top of your bags. Perhaps it was a mistake. Take your brother also and go back at once to the man. May God Almighty cause the man to be merciful to you, so that he will release your older brother and Benjamin to you. As for me, if I am deprived of my sons, then I'm deprived. The man took this gift, doubled the amount of silver and Benjamin. They immediately went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to his steward, take them into my house, slaughter an animal and prepare it, for they will eat with me at noon. The man did as Joseph had said and brought them to Joseph's house. But the men were afraid because they were taken to Joseph's house. They said, we have been brought here because of the silver that was returned in our bags the first time. They intend to overpower us, seize us, make us slaves, and take our donkeys. So they approached Joseph's steward and spoke to him at the doorway of the house. They said, my lord, we really did come down here the first time only to buy food. When we came to the place where we lodged for the night and opened our bags of grain, each one's silver was at the top of his bag. It was the full amount of our silver, and we have brought it back with us. We have brought additional silver with us to buy food. We don't know who put our silver in the bags. Then the steward said, may you be well. Don't be afraid. Your God and the God of your father must have put treasure in your bags. I received your silver. Then he brought Simeon out to them. The steward brought the men into Joseph's house, gave them water to wash their feet, and got feed for their donkeys. Since the men had heard that they were going to eat a meal there, they prepared their gift for Joseph's arrival at noon. When Joseph came home, they brought him the gift they had carried into the house, and they bowed to the ground before him. He asked if they were well, and he said, how is your elderly father that you told me about? Is he still alive? They answered, your servant, our father, is well. He is still alive. And they knelt low and paid homage to him. When he looked up and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, he asked, is this your youngest brother that you told me about? Then he said, may God be gracious to you, my son. Joseph hurried out because he was overcome with emotion for his brother, and he was about to weep. He went into an inner room and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out. Regaining his composure, he said, serve the meal. They served him by himself, his brothers by themselves, and the Egyptians who were eating with him by themselves, because Egyptians could not eat with Hebrews, since that is detestable to them. They were seated before him in order by age, from the firstborn to the youngest. The men looked at each other in astonishment. Portions were served to them from Joseph's table, and Benjamin's portion was 5 times larger than any of theirs. They drank and became drunk with Joseph. Okay. In Genesis 43, 1 and 2, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
Things are getting bad on the land.
Yeah. Jacob gives the order to get more food. Jacob had to ask his sons to go back to the place from where they came to buy more food because the food they had was gone. I wonder how he felt as a father. Did he feel like a failure because he couldn't provide for his family? Did he hate himself because he always did good with the earth? I mean, that is how he made his wealth. So what was wrong with him now? What other questions do you think Jacob asked himself at this moment? Jacob or Israel? Because you know his name changed from Jacob to Israel. So what other questions do you think he asked himself at this moment?
I think he asked, why is it happening to me?
Yes,
I've been so
ma'am.
good. So he thinks, been so good. Why is it now happening to me?
Why me?
Then I
Yes,
was
why
thinking,
me?
what is the next best thing to do? But another thing that stuck out to me in this going back into the second journey is the name changes and the conversation between Israel and Judah, because Israel means let God prevail. And then Judah means to praise. So they were preparing to go back, knowing that God will prevail for them in this season and sending Benjamin with Judah with a praise. So something was changing in this moment. So there was definitely a struggle, but I think the name change kind of identified with the mind change even in this moment.
Because if your name change, your mind got change. You're not going to be the same if there's some change. I love it.
That
I
makes
love
sense.
that. I
That
love
makes
that.
sense. And then if you look at when the names do change, normally God changes their names when they come to a moment of like of an epiphany.
Yes.
Awakening, something's happening. It's new.
Yeah,
Yes.
it makes sense.
Yes, I love it. I love all of that. All right, so in 43, 3-5, what happens next in this love-hate situation? Judah told him, we can't go back if Benjamin isn't with us. The man told us, don't come back around here unless you bring your youngest brother with you. Judah loved his family, and he spoke up to his father and said, look, this is how it has to be. And I know you don't want it, but we tried it another way and it didn't work. My next point, ladies, is if you want something different, you got to do something different. In Genesis 43, 6-7, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
Joseph tried to play the victim.
Yeah, Jacob tried to play the victim.
I'm sorry, Jacob.
That's fine. The J's get you. Because, yeah. He said, but why you even had to tell him you had another brother?
Right.
Do you think Jacob hated them for mentioning that they had another brother?
No, I don't know, but there he go being deceiving again.
Being a liar. Because
yes, once again.
I guess Jacob was saying, now is the time you want to be honest. All these other times y'all been out here doing everything dishonest. Now you want to be honest. In Genesis 43, 8-10, what happens next in this love-hate situation? Judah gonna speak up. Judah stands up and says, send Benjamin with me. Yep, send Benjamin with me. I will be solely responsible for bringing him back to you. Well, similar to someone just said in the previous, well, look at Judah. That translates to mean praise. Remember, he was the one that made the suggestion to sell Joseph. Remember, he was the one that wronged Tamar. And he had sex with her when he thought she was a prostitute. And then he got her pregnant. He was trying to get her killed. And now he is trying to right his wrongs by being responsible for his brother. My next point, God can still use you, even if you mess up. Don't think you can't be used because you made some mistakes. Remember, ladies, even a broken crayon can still color. In Genesis 43, 11-14, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
Israel prepares them for their journey back.
Better say it. He said, you know what? Go ahead. But don't go empty-handed. He said, this time, take these gifts and this extra money, and may God Almighty give you mercy, that the man will release your other brother and Benjamin. You see the difference? He ain't prayed for him the first time. He just sent them on their way. But this time he said a little prayer. I said Jacob must be in a place of desperation at this point, because only someone desperate is going to let you take their son to another land to get some grain and hopefully free your other son. The love that Jacob has for his family is really shown here, because he is willing to sacrifice another son so they can all eat.
Why at this point? Why didn't he go? I would have.
He owed Sheratonese the father.
No.
He
Jacob got it together.
And he
Come on,
bring your
Shantanice.
father. He said, bring your brother.
This man that asked for another one of my children.
Mhm.
Let me go check about him.
Going
Let
on.
me go ask. Let me go see what's up with him.
Yes,
Okay.
what's really up? Because
But maybe he couldn't make the journey. He owed. Maybe he couldn't make the journey.
Because
He owed.
better hop on one of them donkeys, get it moving.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Well,
in Genesis,
Shantanice is funny.
in Genesis 43, 15 and 18. I don't want to rush it through, but I know people, we normally end at 8. What happens next in this love-hate situation? I said that he invites his brothers for dinner. Look at this, ladies. Psalms 23 and 5. The word says that that God will prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. Well, ladies, my next point is get ready to eat up, because tables are being prepared and dinner is served. In Genesis 43, 19 and 23, what happens next in this love-hate situation? The brothers are scared and they start to explain about the money. Nobody ain't even asked them about this money, but they start feeling like, oh, I'm going to tell them before they ask me. But look at God. He allowed the God to say, oh, no worries. I did receive your money. So if you got your money back, only your God and the God of your father has given you the money back in your sacks. See, that is why I love God, because God will give you a blessing that you have to question and ask in my Brenda voice, God, is that you? And then God answers, yes. Why? Because he loves you. In Genesis 43, 24 to 26, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
They prepare for the meal.
All of the brothers meet Joseph at his house, and they bring their gifts. They got invited into their brother's house, and they were treated good, y'all. They washed their feet, and they were treated with love and kindness. In Genesis 43, 27 to 30, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
He asked about Jacob.
Yep. He asked about his father, and he saw his brother Benjamin. He was so happy. Yep. He was so happy to see his brother that he had to go to another room to have a moment to himself. All the love that he had for his full brother, because remember, they shared the same mother and the father, was all over him at this very moment. In Genesis 43, 31 to 32, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
He got himself together and prepared himself to go eat.
They all ate separate. And even the love that Joseph had for his brothers couldn't change that he couldn't eat with them, because he was truly above them. So he had to eat in another room. The Hebrews had to eat in another room, and they had to eat in another room. And even though he probably wanted to sit and break bread with them, He had to follow those customs and he had to eat alone. So in 43, Genesis 43, 33 through 34, what happens next in this love-hate situation?
They were seasoned by ages.
Yes. He arranges them in birth order. And the brothers looked around, surprised. Like, how did he know? And he gave Benjamin 5 times more than what he gave the rest. Some Bible scholars say this was a test to see if the brothers learned their lessons about favor. He wanted to see how they would act when the youngest brother was favored over the rest. Looked like they passed because they got to get drunk with their brother. Love was all at the dinner table, y'all. Let's tie it together, and then I'm going to ask y'all, what did you learn?
It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just getting in. I knock on the door, and the voice, sweet low says, "Who is it?" She opened up the door and let me in. Never do she once says, "Where have you been now?" She said, "Are you hungry? Are you hungry, honey? Did you eat yet? Let me hang up your coat, your coat, your coat." And the woman tells me, "Pass me your hat too." All the time she smiles, never raises her voice. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Between love and hate, it's a thin line. Between love and hate, it's a thin line between love and hate. Between love and hate. The sweetest woman in the world can be the neatest woman in the world. When you make her that way, you keep on hurting her, she keeps being quiet. She might be holding something inside. Oh. Here I am laying in the hospital, bandaged from feet to head. You see, I'm in a state of shock, baby, just that much from being dead, yeah. I didn't think my woman could do something like this to me. I didn't think she had the nerve. So here I am. I guess action speaks louder than words. Between love and hate, it's a thin line between love and hate. Between love and hate. Oh, lady, the sweetest woman in the world can be the meanest woman in the world. If you make her that way, you keep from hurting her. She keeps being quiet. She might be holding something inside that could really hurt you one day. Sing for me, sing. It's a thin line. It's a thin line between love and hate. Between love and hate.
Okay, ladies, what did we learn? Besides, it's a thin line between love and hate. What did we learn?
I learned how gracious, like, was it Joseph? How gracious Joseph was, because I thought once he finally saw his brothers and realized they didn't recognize him, he would have been mean and like vengeful, because he would have had all that pent up hatred and stuff like that for what they did.
Mm-hmm. He
Kind
could
of
have did
like,
work. Yeah, he could have did to them worse than what he did.
yeah. So he loved them he gave them so much kindness, and he kind of loved them in a different way. And he even could have revealed himself and made them feel even worse, but he chose not.
Not at that moment. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, not
Anybody,
anymore.
anybody else?
Well, I learned that I'm so.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I learned that regardless of how somebody treats you, you still supposed to do the right thing, and you'll be blessed.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
Carla. I love that. Yes.
Mhm.
That's that whole turn the other cheek. And God's still working on me with that. But I love it. Yes, yes. What did you learn, Aisha?
Well, I just learned that how I'm so grateful that I used to be so spiteful that I'm growing into this and learning to heal and just wait.
And
I like it.
And what about letting
And
stuff go?
and then I do let stuff go now. I just let go and let God take
Let
it.
go and let God. My God.
I just let go and let go because that's what I can't do anything no more with it. I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah.
It's gonna work itself out anyway.
Yeah. Anybody else learn something from what they didn't know? Or how easy it is to kind of that hate that you have for somebody or you think it's hate, and how you could just so easy, how the Lord will work on you and it'll just, I ain't gonna say disappear or you forget, but you'll be able to love again. Like, because I'm sure it's been times that he hated his brothers. I'm sure he went to jail for something he ain't do. He got thrown into slavery.
He got thrown in a what?
He got thrown in a pit. And then they had but look at this, y'all. We didn't talk about this. They sat down and had a meal while he was in a pit.
In the pit.
But he gave them the opportunity to have a meal in his home.
And then get drunk with him.
And then he gonna get drunk with him. So, they say time heals all wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, time can turn that hate into love. That's why I had you guys draw that line, because it can either go either way, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's no that love don't have to start there, and that hate don't have to start there. It could go just like this all the time on that straight line, and that's why I said draw that thin line, because that line is so thin.
It shows, but like you can see how based off what he been through, it will be easier to hate them than to love them. It's so much easier to hate someone when someone's constantly putting you down, doing this to you, doing this, that, making your life miserable, than to just be like, look, I gotta let go and let God. They gotta figure it out. And I love them for who they are, but I gotta move on. It's so much fighting to love somebody.
Yeah. So you can, and he also got to look at it like his dream did come true, though.
They bowed down to him.
They did. They bowed down to him. He is second in charge. Not to say that this wouldn't have happened if he stayed with his father, but all of this had to be part of the character build for him to be worthy.
It's his journey.
It was part of his journey.
I think also it's a good example of how our weaknesses can be made into strengths.
Yes, I like that, Ashley. Absolutely. Yes, I like that. Let me write that down. Our weaknesses can be turned into strengths. Anything else?
And I mean, I'm listening to everyone, but sometimes I think of that like don't bite the hand that feeds you. You know, it's like, yeah, I told y'all was gonna bow down to me, but y'all bit my fingers off, but now I'm feeding you. You know, now you sitting amongst me and, you know, eating good, drinking good, and we, you know.
But they don't know it's him yet.
Right. Yeah, they don't.
They don't know it's him yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they don't.
You know, they just looking at, I'm sure they sitting around looking at this table like, how they know, how they know what order I'm sitting in. So I'm not sure, but they like, But yeah, it definitely is. Be careful how you treat people.
Right.
And also people's things that people attend for evil, God used for good. That's another one.
Write it down. Oh, it turns around for good. Anything else?
In the words of Ashley, don't put a question mark where God put a period.
Don't put a question mark.
Amen.
Where God put a period. She said all the time. She was like, I ain't put no question mark where God put a period. I love it. That one, y'all, and also broken crayons can still color.
They still
Yeah, that's
color.
a good one too.
A good one.
I just peel that paper off. They still color.
And you know another thing that got a good use? Burnt cookies. When you burn a cookie, you think, I'm going to throw them in the trash. But what I learned from doing investigation, burnt cookies, the Cheesecake Factory used burnt cookie crumbs to make that cheesecake crust. They still got a use, boo. They still got a use. It's always a use. Don't think that because you made a mistake or you feel like you're not good enough, God can still use you. You can still be used, and it's good, and it's okay, because he want to use you with your mess. Because how you gonna sit and help somebody else if you ain't been through nothing? God go through some things, and we definitely gotta understand that it's a thin line. I can love you one moment and hate you the next, and then in some time I can love you again. Do you think it's like, it can be like a circle though. It just go around and around and around. But I like that line. And you know how you could just on that same line, just go back and forth.
Yeah. I read it.
You read the line, Shantanice?
Yeah, because it's almost like a 0 to 100.
Yeah, real quick. You know, get y'all letter, get y'all piece of paper, however y'all drew it, put it somewhere. So you can see it. You know how on The Price is Right, that little man, when he be going up the thing?
Going up the hill.
He go up the hill.
He's going up the hill.
Like, okay, let me see. Am I going to take these steps towards this hate? Or what do I got to do to take these steps back towards this love? Anybody else have anything that they want to discuss before we end for the evening? Okay, well, I hope you guys had a good time. I did. I enjoyed teaching it's a thin line between love and hate. And until next time, ladies, I love keeping it real with you. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye, y'all.
All right.
Good night.